What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here to talk about the brand new Super Evolution character that has arrived here on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global, and that's going to be Legend Cracker. Legend Cracker is a pretty awesome character. We're going to go through his abilities before we actually take him on into some content today. And in this content today, we're mainly going to be discussing like the pros and cons that I have with this character overall. So I guess without further ado, let's just jump into it, right? So with Cracker, when he super evolves, when you get his skulls from the Kizuna Clash, he doesn't change his typing and he does not change his classes either. So he still maintains his quick, powerhouse, and slasher combination. His captain effect does get a slight upgrade though, becoming a 4.25 times captain to powerhouse characters, but then additionally he boosts the health of fighter, slasher, striker, and shooter characters by 1.5 times. A pretty obscure captain effect, honestly, and in today's day and age, it's probably not a very good captain effect. It's definitely not a character you would be using that often, and we'll talk more about it throughout the video, but there's definitely other captains that are in the game right now that you would preferably use over this guy as a captain. But he hybrids well with other units, of course, because he has, some overlapping classes and types with some of the other really powerful units in the game right now. So that's his captain effect. Mine is Limit Break expanded, so you can see that he maxes out at a 13 turn cooldown. If he's not expanded, I believe it goes down to a 15 or a 16 turn cooldown, but his special ability will change very slightly, where now it does a 15% health cut to one enemy. And that 15% health cut might not seem like a lot, but the fact that it's a damage dealing special now means that you can add certain supports on this character, as you'll see in this video today, that make him just one powerful special ability upon activation. So it also will still do the same thing as before, as it changes Empty Block Bomb Recovery G and his own slot into matching. And then if the captain is a fighter, slasher, striker, or a shooter, he gives your crew a 1.1 chain boost for 2 turns. And then if your captain is free spirit, driven, cerebral, or powerhouse, he gives those classes a it was a 1.75 times color affinity, but now it is a 2 times color affinity for 2 turns. So the two major changes with this special is that now that it does a health cut, and the color affinity has been upped from 1.75 to a 2 times color affinity boost. So across the board, not really much has changed. They've just very, very slightly dialed the numbers up. Not really by that much, honestly. And I think, looking back at it in hindsight, they probably could have made this guy a little stronger, especially in the captain ability department. His crewmate effects, though, he reduces his cooldown by 1 every time another powerhouse or slasher uses a special. Definitely this guy will see more play as a sub rather than a captain, but in this video we're going to be showcasing what he can do as a captain, and then he also will boost powerhouse and slasher characters' base stats by 100, which is actually not bad either. He does have a critical hit, which is a 90% chance for 8% additional damage, which is not bad for crit. Recovery bind by 10. He also has damage reduction by 7%, and his support effect we all know and love. It is so good, removing chain debuffs and then giving a chain boost on top of that, attaching to either Katakuri or Smoothie. Unfortunately, you can't attach this to the Sweet Commander's legend because that actually includes Cracker on it, unfortunately. But then in his Pirate Rumble stuff, he did get slightly buffed there as well, so it's a level 6 CT up to Powerhouse and Slasher, and level 3 speed up to those characters as well. And then his special ability on a 34 cooldown, 1.8 times his attack to a large range, which is actually pretty decent. And then Slasher and Powerhouse characters will get critical percent up level 7, and if he is below 50% when you launch his special, he reduces his own CT by 25%. So that is pretty interesting. You could potentially get his special to launch multiple times per quest, even though it is a relatively higher CT for his special ability. But that is the rundown of the brand new 6+ Cracker, and now that we've done that, let's go ahead and use him in the content that I have for you guys today. So jumping into the video today, of course, we're going to be using him against all 3 of the current GARP challenges that are out on Global, honestly, I was kind of surprised. I was honestly shocked that Cracker did as well as he did. I will have to say, though, that my man Versus Akainu as the friend captain, definitely hard carried, not gonna lie, especially in the later clips, as you guys are gonna see. The Versus effect, the burn damage, all of that stuff definitely made Cracker look a little bit better than what he kind of does, because I did initially try a team with Super Type Kaido as the friend captain, because double Super Type Kaido, in my opinion, is the best quick team to build for these GARP challenges. However, it didn't really translate well to running only one of them. It definitely felt better with 2 Kaidos, with the double smashes of his special abilities, the super types, and all of the nasty shenanigans that go along with that. But I digress. We're not talking about super type Kaido specifically today. We're talking about my man Cracker with his 6+, and you know, versus Akainu and him have a great synergy, both being quick of course and both being powerhouse captains. So building a powerhouse captain team, or powerhouse team based around these 2 units, was my target for all 3 of these challenges. I definitely think you would be able to clear at least this version of the GARP challenges, the Dofi one at least, with double Cracker, but for the higher difficulty ones, I'm not really too sure that's going to translate too well. Though, you know, the amount of health that you actually do receive from Cracker is quite substantial. Remember that the health boost is only for fighters, shooters, slashers, and striker characters, which I've always found to be a bit of a weird thing. I felt like the health boost should have probably also been for powerhouse characters, and then if you just end up running some other characters as well that fulfill those other conditions, you just get extra health on top of that. But I just feel like you kind of lose out for, you know, if you bring like a powerhouse driven, as we have with a Kainu here, or a powerhouse free spirit, you don't get any health out of that, which is kind of a shame, honestly. But let's go ahead and talk about the positives and the negatives that I have found whilst using Cracker in this short time since I have gone ahead and super evolved him. So obviously the biggest pro that I have for this character is the fact that he has amazing sub viability, because his special ability just does so many different things, right? You've got an HP cut, you've got amazing slot change, a 1.1 chain boost, and a 2x affinity boost, both of which last for 2 turns. And also, he has that really cool crewmate effect that says whenever another slasher or a powerhouse uses a special, he reduces his own cooldown by 1. And, you know, Cracker is one of those characters that I definitely would advise limit break expanding, because he gets 3 cooldown reduction upon the expansion. So getting him to lower cooldown, having that really good crewmate effect, means that, you know, even though he starts at a 13 turn cooldown, after you use a couple of specials, that's obviously going to be reduced slowly until you get his special ready to go, which I think is a huge benefit to this unit overall. And the fact that it actually does an HP cut now is honestly one of the coolest changes, because namely his best support that you'll see most often on the character, well, it depends on the team composition, but definitely one of his best supports is going to be Legend Smoker, the super type Smoker, which attaches to any quick unit and says that if that unit does a damage dealing or a health cut special, he boosts the attack of quick units by 1.75 times. So we've already established, you know, Cracker does a lot of different things with his special ability, and if you add that support effect on top of that, you're getting a 1.1 chain boost, 2x affinity, and a 1.75 times attack boost as well, and you have the ability to change a lot of those nasty slots into ones that you actually want. This unit is insane, especially for these GARP challenges. As we said, being able to just get so much damage output upon one special activation is ridiculously useful to have, and he's going to be really good in a lot of those pieces of content that rely you to have, you know, very limited space in terms of, like, you need a lot of utility units. Having the ability to have a special ability such as Cracker that can give you so much damage with one special activation is definitely going to help out teams like that. So specifically in Kizuna Clash, but in a lot of other pieces of content, Cracker is going to be a very useful character moving forward. Now, in this video, we are kind of showcasing him as a captain, but ideally, you're not really going to be using Cracker as a captain. But the good thing about him is that he does have amazing synergy with some very powerful, recently released Sugo Fest exclusive characters. I feel like we've talked about this a lot with a lot of other recent characters, you know, talking about Super Type Kaido versus Akainu, both of which are really good quick units that can work well with Cracker. Potentially even Legend Magellan, the Super Type Magellan that just recently released as well. And then also Blackbeard and Moria that also just released are also powerhouse related units that can work well with Cracker as a captain. So even if you don't have some of these really powerful recently released Sugo Fest exclusive characters, you are still able to hybrid them up with a Cracker as your own captain, hypothetically, if you were unlucky enough not to get these characters as of yet. And the good thing about it is you can continue to do this moving forward, because there are still a lot of other really good powerhouse related units that are going to be releasing later on, such as Whitebeard versus Shanks, Super Type King and Super Type Queen, for example, and even the more recently released one on Japan, Summer Reiju, who is also another powerhouse-related unit. So yeah, the really good synergy moving forward with some other powerhouse units, but ideally, if you have your own version of all of those units that we've already mentioned, then you'd probably want to use those characters over Cracker as the captain, as we'll talk a little bit more in the negatives of the unit as to why I don't like him as a captain. And of course, you cannot talk about Legend Cracker without discussing his amazing support effect. It is ridiculously unique. Unfortunately, it only attaches to Katakuri and Smoothie characters, so it really restricts the characters that you can attach to. And unfortunately, it doesn't attach to the Sweet Commanders, because obviously, Cracker is on that character. But his support effect, being able to remove both of the chain debuffs by 3 turns anytime you're inflicted with it for the first time, and then on top of by removing it for 3 turns, it also adds 0.7 to your chain multiplier for that 1 turn as well. This is a great support effect that has seen a lot of play in the past and will continue to see a lot of play in the future, especially as more and more Katakuri Legends release. Eventually, I'm sure Smoothie will get her own Sugo Fest exclusive character in the future, so this is going to be just another character you can add on top of that to Smoothie to get even more buffs to that unit when that character eventually releases. And then speaking of support effects, in terms of support effects that can actually attach to Cracker himself, we've already established that Smoker is a great addition and definitely one of the more powerful ones that you'll see, but there are a few more that you could potentially use. Obviously, there's a lot of generic ones, you know, there's like the quick rare recruit ace to give color affinity on the last stage if you've used Cracker a little bit earlier on in the fight, just regular stuff like that, but kind of unique stuff to Cracker, right? You can potentially use version 1 Katakuri, who, when you launch the special ability of Cracker, it will grant you a 1.4 times delayed conditional boost. So if you're able to somehow delay the enemy in the same turn you're using your Cracker special, with that support, you could potentially get all the buffs that Cracker gives you with the affinity and the chain boost, but also potentially get a delayed conditional boost on top of that. So that's a really cool one. Probably won't see too much play. It is a little niche, as I said, because you do have to rely on using some kind of delay mechanic in order to get that to activate, but something unique that you may want to keep in the back of your mind. Also, you could potentially use version 2 Fujitora, which attaches to a slasher unit, and if they use a damage dealing or a health cut special, it changes badly matching slots on slasher characters into matching. So Cracker being a slasher powerhouse, it works for him, and the thing is Cracker's special does not change badly matching slots. So you could be in a situation where you want to have that certain support just to remove badly matching slots on your slashers, and you know, because he himself will get a matching slot no matter what, you can just, even if you're up against the strength unit and you're getting all of these other different buffs from Cracker's special, even if Cracker is just the last character to attack in the chain, with the affinity and the chain boost and any other boosts you have, that is going to do a lot of damage to the enemy still. And then one other one you could potentially use is Cavendish, which will attach to a quick unit when they launch their special. It gives themselves a quick slot and it locks it so you can keep it for multiple turns, but it also gives that unit a 1.5 times attack and also a 1.5 times orb boost. So it means you can get the 1.5 attack and orb boost for Cracker, as well as an affinity boost, and also the chain boost. So again, as I said, if you're up in a certain situation where you just need Cracker himself to do absurd amounts of damage, you can do that with the Cavendish support. Now, by no means is Legend Cracker 6 Plus a perfect unit. There are definitely things about this unit that I would love to see changed, and definitely one of the big things about this character is his captain effect is pretty bad across the board. Now, while yes, it does provide a 4.25 attack boost to Powerhouse, and does provide a health boost to certain classes, that's all it does, unfortunately. And in 2021, you know, we see a lot of characters have either absurd numbers in terms of their captain effect, or they have like really cool added effects to those units, and unfortunately Cracker doesn't have any of those. So I would have preferred if 6 Plus Cracker had a very unique effect or set of abilities that would make his captain effect a little bit more desirable and make people actually want to use him as a captain for certain pieces of content. And like, I mean, potentially they could do some really cool stuff, like because his crewmate effect is based around, you know, cooldown, it would be interesting if his captain effect had like a special rewind restore, so you know, it just restores 5 turns or 10 turns of special reverse. That would be really cool. Potentially granting more beneficial slots just as a captain would be pretty interesting, like making, you know, Sign-Int beneficial or making Quick beneficial to Powerhouse or something like that. And then even potentially just being a cooldown captain, like do what he already does, but give you -2 cooldown at the start of the quest. That would be interesting. Or make it somewhat similar to the brand new Fire Tank Pirate character that came out recently that has the ability to resist blow away, because that would be pretty cool. Even though technically Cracker in the anime and in the manga does actually get blown away by Luffy, so I guess that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But they really should have given him a unique effect in his captain ability that makes it more desirable and makes people want to use him as a captain, not just relegate him to a sub. And that honestly is probably the worst part about this unit. And I mean, if there's one other nitpick that I would like to have had changed with Cracker, instead of his special ability providing a health cut, I think it would have been better if it was just a huge chunk of fixed damage, because health cuts, they do get interrupted a lot, unfortunately. And I feel like if it was just, you know, 200,000 fixed damage, and if it was to, like, AoE or something like that, that would actually be pretty useful and would be used a lot. But the fact it only targets one enemy for a 15% health cut, not as usable, but hey, you know, beggars can't be choosers. You know, at least he does damage now, which means you can have a little bit more variety in terms of the supports that you can put on this character. But across the board, I had a lot of fun using this guy as the captain, and I'm definitely going to be using him as a crewmate moving forward. But that is going to wrap up this video today, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one using Cracker. If you guys have had Cracker and had a chance to use him, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
ビスケットを無限に踏み出し操れる